Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Tyler Merkovich with Emory Hunt Azarda Playbook, and we're bringing you our 2010 Conference USA preview. Let's start out with the East Division, where ECU had another spectacular year. They won the Conference USA Championship over Houston. They had a chance to get 10 wins, but blew it in the bowl game against Liberty. But a change of guard is in hand as Skip Holtz goes to South Florida. Ruffin McNeil takes over his alma mater. He was the defensive coordinator at Texas Tech. He did a marvelous job in that Alamo Bowl victory. Dominique Davis, Boston College transfer, is in line to start at quarterback for them. Jonathan Williams at running back. They have a pair of good wide receivers. Dwayne Harris, first team Conference USA as a wide receiver and special teams player of the year. And Darryl Freeney, and DJ Scott returns with two others on the offensive line.
If you look at that offensive line, it's a solid group, a veteran group that's going to help aid the breaking in of new quarterback and running back there in the backfield. And also, since they're moving to the spread, that means a lot of spots are going to open up for some wide receivers. Keep an eye on JUCO transfer Lance Lewis, a guy that's going to come in with a lot of speed and a lot of big playability to help out that team. You look at that quarterback battle between Dominic Davis and Brad Warmick. Whoever wins that battle going into the fall is going to be that starting quarterback throughout the year. So they don't like to switch quarterbacks, so it's going to be a key matchup to watch.
And on defense, only two returning starters. Cornerback Emmanuel Davis was a first-team All-Conference USA, and the other corner, Travis Simmons. But Ruffin McNeil really needs to get his players in place and get that Pirate defense playing like they were playing under Skip Holtz.
And they got a lot of freshmen coming off the ends, a lot of freshmen at the defensive end position. So can they make that much of a difference? That's the key thing to watch. Emmanuel Davis is a stud, but they need help from the front four to help him out a lot. And the linebackers have some experience, and they will be solid. But you also look at Lamar McClendon has all Conference USA potential, so he should be a star this year for the Pirates.
The Marshall Thundering Herd took big strides in their program, defeating Ohio 21-17 in the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl. They finished 7-6. Doc Holliday takes over, coming over from West Virginia. Willie Korn, the former Clemson quarterback, will battle Brian Anderson for the starting job. Running back Martin Ward, and they have a promising sophomore wide receiver, Ontavious Wilson, who's a freshman All-American last year, with 60 receptions, and Chad Schofield returns with two others on the offensive line.
That running game won't miss a beat this year with that rugged offensive line, and Brian Anderson has to cut down on those mistakes, those errors, those turnovers. He has to eliminate those to have some success this season. And you look at Ontavious Wilson as a budding star, future star, freshman All-Conference USA, so he's going to be big for the Thundering Herd.
And the Herd on defense really making strides in 2 years, from 34.3 points per game to last year only 24.3 points per game. Linebacker Mario Harvey, first team All-Conference, 117 tackles and 7 sacks. And in the secondary, they got Daquan Bembry, who's a second-team All-CUSA player, along with Ahmed Shakur and Omar Brown. They all combined for 30 pass breakups and 5 interceptions, so Bembry is really a go-to corner, a shutdown corner. So what do you think about their defense?
Well, good luck trying to run on Marshall. You got two defensive tackles, Brandon Bullock and Delvin Johnson, two guys that can really stuff the run, and that helps Mario Harvey, 6 feet, 250, to run free and make a lot of tackles. So those three guys are the battery of that defense. So I'm impressed to see those guys play even at a higher level this year for the Thunder Herd. The defense will be a very solid, but secondary will be the deepest position on that squad. Linebackers are a thin group, but they do have Harvey, and he's a tremendous player.
Well, there's a new era in Memphis as Larry Porter takes over his alma mater, the former running back coach for LSU. He's a great recruiter, and he has a bunch of JUCOs on this Tigers team. Cannon Smith, the sophomore Miami transfer, looks to nab the starting job at quarterback. Running back Lance Smith, the Wisconsin transfer. So a lot of transfers on this team also. Cameron Baker, only 20 receptions last year. He's their leading receiver. He's back. But Don Riley, All-Conference USA performer, and Tommy Walker return all 5 returning starters on the offensive line, so something to look forward to for the Tigers on offense.
Well, they got a very good offensive line. They're led by left tackle Ronald Leary, a guy that's going to be a stud. Also, they're changing over to a new offense. The new offense will put more of an emphasis on balance, so expect to see a different look, a different Tigers offense this season that emphasizes balance. And the wide receiver core, they have a lot of good skill players that are new, But Marcus Hightower is a guy you want to watch at the wide receiver. Moved over from running back to wide receiver spot. He's probably better suited to be at that position, 6'2", 190. So keep an eye on him. He's going to be a playmaker for the Tigers.
They were loaded at the skill position with running back and wide receiver last year. They got to replace a lot of those great players. Defensively, Jamon Hughes, Mississippi State transfer, leads them at linebacker. On the defensive line, they got nose tackle Dontari Poe and Winston Bowens at the end. In the secondary, they got Marcus Ball, strong safety, former Florida State transfer player, now cornerback D.A. Griffin to team up with him.
Yeah, that secondary is super suspect. 117th ranked pass defense in the country. They have to improve on that tremendously. You mentioned Dontari Poe, 7 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles, so he lives behind the line of scrimmage. Tremendous playmaker for the Tigers. And I also think they have to get better at rushing passer. That's partly why the secondary struggles. If they can get pressure on the quarterback, you'll see a dramatic change in that defense.
Well, Southern Miss, coming off a 7-6 year, they failed to reach that 8-win mark when they were favorites in the New Orleans Bowl as they lost to Middle Tennessee. Larry Fedora, formerly of Oklahoma State, is now in his 3rd year. He has a lot of experience at quarterback with Austin Davis, and he has a couple wide receiver targets in DeAndre Brown, who has that pro-type body, and Tracy Lampley, a young stud, a smaller guy, but 0 returning starters on the offensive line. A lot of inexperience up there, and this will be vital for the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, big question mark on that offensive line, but good thing they have 2 good quarterbacks. Austin Davis is going to be, he's going to get the nod as a starter. DeAndre Brown is a man-child, a beast. He's added some bulk to that frame. He's about 240 now. And Tracy Lampley is going to be the much-needed complement to Brown, so that way teams won't just double Brown and bracket him and try to take him out of the game.
Defense not bad, but not spectacular. Second-team Conference USA linebacker Corey Williams is back, so go along with Martez Smith and Robbie Thornton. And nose tackle Anthony Gray is a pivotal player. And in the secondary, they're led by cornerback Alonzo Lawrence.
Well, they should be solidly stout against the run. They have a great front 7, so expect them to stop the run. The secondary is where they may have some question mark. That's the biggest thing. Can they stop teams from throwing on the 109th ranked pass defense? That's going to get you beat week in, week out. It's going to put you in situations where you need your offense to outscore other teams. So, and keep an eye on freshman Deron Wilson. He could be something special for that defense.
University of Alabama Birmingham, coming off a 5-win season. A lot of hope with 17 returning starters. Neil Callaway in his 4th year, and the coaching staff has been intact for 4 years. David Isabel, the sophomore, takes over at quarterback for an experienced guy. Running back Pat Shedd and Chad Wimbush will try to get that running game going. And Franchell Forrest, 9 touchdowns, 126 career receptions. Offensive line is returning 4 starters, so the can have some success on offense.
So they have a sneaky solid offensive line led by left tackle Matt McCants, a guy that's going to be a tremendous player for the Blazers. Also, they need to get more production out that passing game. Teams were able just to shut down the passing game and load up the stop the run, which is the reason why they only won 5 games last year. So they have to get more production out that passing game. And you mentioned Paul Shedd, 5'8", 190 JUCO transfer, is going to come in and provide some speed out the backfield. And
they really need to get a pass rush together because they have some good guys in the secondary. Despite giving up 312 pass yards per game, Hiram Atwater, 2 second-team Conference USA, Terrell Springs, 10 pass breakups. Dan White, all freshman team in the Conference USA, defenseman, needs to get some pressure, and linebacker Lemansky Ware leads their linebacking core.
They have to get production out their linebacking core. That's the biggest weak spot of their defense. The secondary, the safeties are solid. They're tremendous playmakers at safety. The question mark is at the cornerback spot, so they have to find a way to get production out the cornerbacks, and they got to get pressure on the quarterback. 114th ranked pass defense. That is atrocious. That ties into the point where they had a lot of problems stopping people on long sustained drives, giving up the big play over 455 yards per game. They have to get better at that aspect.